Millions of Americans are being told that the housing market is stable, that prices are holding, and that the correction everyone feared never truly arrived. But a new dataset quietly released by Zillow suggests something very different, something deeper, wider, and more consequential than anything we've seen since the recovery era after the Great Recession. More than half of all homes in the United States, 53%, lost value over the last 12 months. And this time, the story isn't about panic. It isn't about foreclosures. It isn't about economic collapse. It's about a structural shift unfolding in slow motion, right beneath the surface of American life. No noise, no spin, just analysis. 1. The quiet statistic that changes everything. On the surface, Zillow's report seems simple. 53% of American homes are worth less today than they were 1 year ago. But the significance of that number cannot be overstated. The last time the market saw a nationwide directional shift this sharp was 2012, one of the final years of the slow, painful rebound from the housing crash. But unlike 2008, there is no banking meltdown, no wave of job losses, no sudden credit collapse. Instead, this downturn is revealing something more complicated. A housing market that is adjusting not because of crisis, but because the math of everyday American life no longer works. And Zillow's data exposes the speed of the change. 12 months earlier, fewer than 20% of homes were declining in value. Today, the majority are moving in the opposite direction. This wasn't gradual. This was a pivot, fast, silent, and national. 2. Beneath the national averages, a market splitting in two. Real estate agents often say, all real estate is local. But the 2025 map of America looks like two different countries. The first country, boom states turning cold. Florida, Texas, Arizona, Tennessee, Nevada, and large portions of California are all experiencing measurable declines, some light, some severe. These were the places that soared during the pandemic migration wave. Cities where homes sold within hours, buyers wrote offers sight unseen, prices surged 40, 50, even 70% in under 3 years. Now those same markets are the earliest to turn. Inventory is climbing, demand is softening, and the extraordinary premiums of the pandemic era are peeling away like old paint. In parts of Florida, especially coastal metros, the correction is no longer subtle. Condo values have posted their steepest one-year declines since 2009. Insurance bills have exploded. Maintenance assessments have doubled. Buyers are stepping back not because they don't want the homes, but because they can no longer justify the carrying costs. In Texas, the story is different, but the destination is the same. Massive overbuilding in some metros, combined with slowing migration and rising property taxes, has sent valuations drifting downward and listings piling up. Homes that sparked bidding wars in 2021 now sit for months. And in Northern California, one of the most insulated housing ecosystems in the world, tens of thousands of properties are registering year-over-year value losses for the first time in a decade. The second country, refuge markets rising. But move into the Midwest, parts of New England and the Rust Belt, and you enter a different reality. In cities like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Buffalo, St. Louis, and Hartford, home prices are not falling. They're rising gently. These markets stayed affordable, avoided the 2020 to 2022 speculative spike, have stable insurance and tax costs, and continue to attract families priced out of overheated states. These places were once considered slow markets. Now they're becoming the safety valves of the American housing system. The divide between these two countries is not temporary, it's structural. 3. The cost of ownership, the new crisis no one prepared for. If there is one force shaping the future of American housing more than any other, it is this: the cost of staying in the home, not the price of buying it. In 2008, the crisis came from collapsing mortgages. In 2025, the pressure is coming from everything wrapped around the mortgage: insurance, HOA fees, utility inflation, property taxes, climate-related risk premiums. In states along the coast, especially Florida, the change has been dramatic. Some homeowners now pay more per month in insurance than they once paid for their mortgage. Entire condo buildings have seen annual expenses rise by $4,000 to $10,000 per unit. A market can survive high prices, but it cannot survive unaffordable ownership. This is the hidden force accelerating Zillow's downward shift. Even in places where prices remain historically high, buyers are reaching the breaking point, not because they can't afford the home itself, but because they can't afford to live in it. 4. Condos, the first sector to crack. If single-family homes are the backbone of American real estate, condos are the early warning system, and right now, the alarm is ringing. Nationwide, condo values are declining faster than single-family homes. Why? Because condos carry shared risk, and that risk has become heavier than ever. One insurance policy for the whole building. One budget for repairs. One board deciding dues. One storm, one inspection, one structural issue, and costs explode. In several coastal metros, entire condo towers have turned into what analysts now call deflation clusters. Units that once attracted bidding wars are now selling tens of thousands below peak prices. Buyers scrutinize HOA budgets. Lenders hesitate. Inspectors are stricter. And sellers, unable to find offers, slash prices simply to move on. What's happening in condos today is a preview of what the broader market could face tomorrow. 5. The inventory illusion. Why the market looks healthier than it is. Housing inventory is rising. Homes are sitting longer. Price cuts are accelerating. But the real story is what we don't see. The growing wave of delistings. Thousands of homeowners have pulled their listings after failing to attract offers at 2022 level prices. They are not counted in inventory numbers, but they still exist. They still want to sell. They are simply waiting. This shadow supply represents pressure that has not yet hit the market, but will. If mortgage rates stay elevated, if insurance costs rise again, or if economic growth slows even modestly, that shadow supply could return in waves. That's when a soft correction becomes a hard landing. 6. Seller psychology, the invisible force driving the reset. Economic indicators are important. Demographic shifts matter. But nothing shapes a housing cycle more powerfully than human psychology. And today, the psychology of the American home seller is defined by one thing: denial. Homeowners are anchored to the highest valuation their home ever reached. They are emotionally attached to that number. Even when the market clearly cools, they price near the peak. When no one makes an offer, they wait. When buyers ask for concessions, they decline. When showings dry up, they delist. And then, months later, when reality finally sets in, they drop the price, often too late, and often more than they would have had to earlier. This slow cycle of denial, delay, and eventual capitulation explains why the current correction feels quiet, drawn out, and uneven. But make no mistake, it is happening. 7. Toward 2026, a market without escape velocity. Zillow's forecast now projects minimal price growth in the coming year, around 1% nationally. Some markets will see small gains. Many will see continued softening. A few will see measurable declines. None will see the rocket-fueled surges of 2020-2022 ever again, not under current conditions, because the market has lost what economists call escape velocity. The forces that once pushed prices upward, cheap credit, mass migration, investor activity, have weakened or reversed. Meanwhile, the forces pressing downward, high carrying costs, weak absorption, rising supply, are persistent. This is not the setup for a dramatic crash. It is the setup for a slow, structural reset. A reset defined not by panic, but by pressure. Not by collapse, but by recalibration. Not by fear, but by arithmetic. 8. What this reset means for America. For homeowners, this is a moment of recalculation. Your home may still be worth more than you paid, but the era of effortless appreciation is over, at least for now. For buyers, This is a moment of opportunity and caution. Prices are softening slowly, but affordability remains stretched. The true window of opportunity may come not from falling prices, but from rising inventory and increased negotiation power. For renters, the future grows more uncertain. Build-to-rent developments are rising. Institutional landlords are expanding. Ownership is slipping out of reach for many households. For policymakers, this reset is a warning. Housing can no longer be treated solely as a financial instrument. It is infrastructure. It is risk. It is climate. It is stability. It is the bedrock of the American middle class, and that bedrock is shifting. 9. The final question. Zillow's report is not just data. It is a narrative of a country quietly undergoing a housing transformation that will shape wealth, mobility, and opportunity for decades. The question now is not whether the housing market has changed. It's whether America is prepared for what comes next. So we end with this. Do you believe this slow-moving housing reset will finally restore affordability for ordinary families? Or are we entering a new era where home ownership becomes a privilege reserved for fewer and fewer Americans? No noise, no spin, just analysis.